Yeah, I know that this is a few weeks late, but I've been really busy. I've been working a lot. It's the holidays, and I've completely just forgot. I kept saying I was going to review it, and now I finally have. 3 weeks later, I answered that call 3 weeks later. So, Ghostbusters Afterlife was directed by Jason Reitman, the son of the original director of Ghostbusters, Ivan Reitman, and it stars Paul Rudd, Carrie Coon, Finn Wolfhard, McKenna Grace, and a few other original Ghostbusters cast members. And it's about this family that moves out into this town in the middle of nowhere, and they begin experiencing these paranormal events, ghosts coming out everywhere, and they believe it's all connected to these Ghostbusters from the 80s, and they feel like they have a connection to them, and that's basically the movie. So I was not really looking forward to this new movie, mainly because I don't know. I just feel like because of the last Ghostbusters movie, which honestly I'm not a big fan of, um, the reaction to it was just so toxic that anytime someone mentioned it, it just became it just didn't excite me. It just felt draining. It just like I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with people who are just complaining about this movie. And the movie itself wasn't very good, but that's not because of what people were complaining about. But also, I'm also not really the biggest fan of Ghostbusters. I do enjoy the first movie. The second movie, not so much, and the third movie, yeah. So, and the trailers just looked all right, even though they have Paul Rudd, who I love. Uh, it just didn't excite me, even though again, also with Jason Reitman being involved, again, it didn't really excite me because I've seen Jason Reitman movies and I felt like he was not the right pick, other than blatant nepotism. So to my surprise, I actually kind of enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. The characters were very fun. Visually, it was interesting, and I didn't mind it so much. So what worked? Well, mainly the performances. The main performance here is McKenna Grace. She's the pretty much the lead character in this movie. I thought she was really good. She had a lot of dry humor, which I was like, "Yep, that was really great." She was really funny, and I really liked her character. The other performances are fine. Paul Rudd is fine as this teacher who is, he kind of knows everything about the Ghostbusters. Carrie Coon as the mom of Finn Wolfhard and McKenna Grace. She's good as well. There are a couple other performers that are fine, but they're the only ones who really stand out. And there are some good tributes to the original. If you've seen the movie, you kind of know. There's a few tributes to Harold Ramis that they worked, I guess. And I really like the beginning where you kind of don't actually see his face, and it's that was really good. That was really well handled. And I also really like the blend of like comedy and humor, drama throughout this entire movie and horror. And I felt like that was really good, like compared to the first Ghostbusters movie, where it kind of felt like they blended the genres pretty well. This movie also does it pretty well, and I thought the comedy balanced some of the horror aspects pretty nicely. And there were nice moments throughout this entire movie. And also, I was really surprised by a lot. I was like, I usually don't like it when I go into movies and like, oh, I can just predict everything that's gonna happen. I honestly didn't predict a lot of things that would happen in this movie, so I really like that. As far as anything I didn't like, Finn Wolfhard, he's a good actor. I like him in Stranger Things. He was good in it, but I felt like his character was just pointless, to be honest. Like all he does is kind of complain. He has a potential love interest who also doesn't really have a whole lot to do, but you know, I just didn't care for his role at all. I thought that he could have been written out of this movie entirely, and I felt like I wouldn't have missed him at all. Also, even though there are some nice tributes to the original movie and the cast itself, there were some moments in this movie where they were just too obvious. Like, there's a shot of a Twinkie that lingers for a while, and I'm like, are we really doing this? Cut, please. Finish it already. And like, I'm all fine for like tributes and such in these like movies that are like bringing back the original, but sometimes it's just way too obvious. Also, there's another one where someone literally says the phrase, "Who are you gonna call?" And I'm like, Jesus. At first, it could be like, "Oh, that's clever," and then the next second, you hate it. But I didn't despise the callbacks as much as something like, say, any Disney movie these days that just relies on that nostalgia. I would say it's effective enough to be like, the characters work, they're funny enough, they're their own characters, they don't really have any... They're not like the original. They're their own, but that doesn't mean they can't pay tribute to the original. And this movie does it pretty well. I'm surprised by a lot of this movie. The performances were really good. Visually, it was fun. It was inventive. I laughed a lot. I was surprised by a lot. And honestly, it kind of surprisingly made me emotional, even though I'm not a big fan of this franchise. It worked, even though I would have removed Finn Wolfhard, and some moments are just not necessary. It's still worth a watch, especially if you're a fan of this franchise. I'll give Ghostbusters Afterlife 3 out of 4 stars. See it. So, what's your favorite Ghostbusters movie? Comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat, and stay safe.